All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me again. Bringing you another preview for this upcoming girls soccer season. I have Holmdel coach John Nacarlo. John, thanks for joining me.
No, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Um, Now, I know you've been at Holmdel a long time. How long have you been coaching soccer, first off? And, for everyone knows, John was on the boys' side, and just recently made the move to the girls' side. So how long have you been coaching and how long at Holmdel?
So I've been coaching probably about 18, 19 years. I was the boys head coach for 16 years, starting in 2003. Before, actually, right when I got out of college, my one of my high school coaches, Billy Caruso, asked me about coaching with him, and he wanted me as a goalkeeper trainer because I was a goalkeeper. So I had the opportunity of being with him for a couple of years, which was great for me to learn from one of the best. And it was great being part of that program, and I was able to carry over a lot of things I learned from him and just build a good tradition on the Holmdel boys side. And, I ended up having a pretty good career with the boys.
Yeah. Just, I know we're talking about the girls, but what are some of the accomplishments you had, on the boys' side?
So the we've had quite a the last 2 years that I coached were pretty phenomenal years, and I was really lucky to have the coaching staff I had and the group of kids. They were kids that played together for their entire lives, most of them, and I actually trained them a little bit when they were younger. So those 2 years that we won state championships and we won a short conference title that year. Prior to that, we won 5 other state sectional titles, and along with winning the 2 divisional titles, obviously in 17 and 18, we also won 5 to the previous years.
Yeah, I don't follow, the boys' side so much, but I remember, 2 years ago, your last season there, just following through, Shore Sports Network, and it seemed like you had a really special team there on your hand your final year.
We did, and some of the boys will disagree, but most of them agree. I still think the 2017 team was pretty dominant, and we were unfortunate to lose a game that year to Pingree, in a game where, if you watch soccer, you outshoot a team 18-3 and they score on their opportunity and we can't put the ball in the back of net. That's what happened that game. But it kind of woke us up right before the postseason. So it was kind of fortunate that it happened. I always look at the positive things.
Yeah, you always got to, turn a negative into a positive. That's what makes a good coach and,
Absolutely.
good team too that could rally around that.
Yeah.
Now, what made you get into coaching?
So, like I said, I think it was really BC, Brick Memorial. I was actually, I did my student teaching in Jackson. So I was with Scotty Baker for a little bit at Brookdale. I worked with him with his goalies. He's now at Rowan University. He's the head coach there. And, BC really got me involved in working with the keepers, and I started training the keepers on the side, at Good Sports and places like that. And then, I was fortunate with my situation in Holmdel because I would say the day after I was offered a job in Holmdel for teaching, Jackson called me and then offered me a job because I was still subbing there at the time. And I had to turn him down because Holmdel was obviously a good place to be in.
Yeah.
And I was going to be the junior varsity coach that year, my first year. And I guess what happened was the head coach at the last minute decided he didn't want to do it. So the AD calls me in, and I'm 23 years old at the time, and like, you think you can handle it? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm fine. So my first year was pretty special because of who I coached with, the experience I had. I was actually Tab Ramos was almost there.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So he coached me for the first year. My first year, I ended up keeping 6 freshmen up at the varsity level, and that group that I kept, those 6 freshmen. They ended up senior year winning the first ever state sectional championship for the school for the boys side. So that was pretty exciting to see how much it got better throughout the first 4 years. So, but it was really just starting training those goalies, and then obviously with teaching phys ed and getting a job here in Holmdel and having the soccer background, that was the kind of kickstart to my coaching career.
Do you find a lot of similarities in, teaching and coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And so you got to create a positive environment for the kids, which is always, that number one thing that you really look to do. And got to enjoy being there.
Yeah.
Right? They got to have fun with it. You know, I felt like the culture I built with the boys always bought into me. Everything that I was pitching, they were buying in, and they worked hard for me, and they had fun together. They were family every time they were together, you know, on and off the field. So, you know, same thing, you know, with teaching. Like, you want your kids to have fun in the classroom, and you want to create that positive environment for them.
Yeah. I always, you know, I said, you know, when I interviewed Coach Caruso, my teachers who were coaches were the ones, you know, I seem to, you know, communicate better with, always do better. You know, it's just, you know, the way they communicate to the students.
Yeah.
Before we start talking about this upcoming season, what made you decide to come back and switch from boys to girls?
So, you know, I know it, when I decided that I was going to go, I had Joe Arena was on my team.
Uh-huh.
I was very close with Joe ever since. I was very close with a lot of the boys, but he was someone that I watched grow up. You know, he played academy and he chose to play high school. I had a very good relationship with the family. The older brother played for me 1 year and then left for Cedar Stars. But Joe was a special player, and I felt like not just with Joe, with a lot of the other boys I knew, it was just a right team to leave with, because I knew my boys were getting older. I wanted to be.
Yeah.
My oldest son is now in 7th grade, so I wanted to have the opportunity to watch them play.
Yeah.
And it just felt right. It felt right at the time, and it was actually, I would say, in the 3 or 4 games into the season, I actually told Joe, "This is it. This is it for me. This is our senior year. This is what it feels like to be a senior.
Yeah.
So I'm going to know what it feels like." And then, you know, those 2 years, as great as they were, it's really tough to go through, you know, 5-6 months of training and the games and the postseason, and it drains you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think I needed that year off just to
Refresh.
you know, spend a little time with my family, with my boy. I started coaching my youngest son's team. I'm doing that still right now, and I'm learning I can do both. So, you know, and I knew with the girls' opportunity, it's a special group of girls. A lot of girls I knew that used to do my clinics through school. And there was definitely some intrigue there to get involved with the girls somehow.
I don't know how you coaches find the time, because, you know, the Ocean Township coach, she coaches travel soccer as well. The Frio Borough coach, I know, coaches travel soccer. I don't know how you guys found, you know, especially in the fall season with high school.
I'm finding it, not that it's difficult, but it is time consuming, because right after school I'm going to the girls' practice, and then twice a week I got to drive right to Berkeley, to JSU, and practice with Landon's team, and that's my son. So it's I don't get home till 8:30, 9 o'clock. So and then, you know, once the games start, I got to change training schedules around because of the games. So, but it's doable. So.
You brought up Development Academy. You know, talking to some of the girls' side, you know, happy that they were, you know, last, you know, 2 seasons that the Development Academy allowed them to come back and play high school. You know, it's something that, you know, they like playing with their, you know, their friends, their classmates. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't want to say fighting with the academies since 2009, when Danny Metzger and Sean Davis, who now plays with the Red Bulls, you know, those were 2 kids that played for me their first year as a freshman. And Danny ended up coming back when he was actually playing with the Red Bulls his senior year. But it's that opportunity for players to play for their school, to represent their school and play the sport they love, and play with the kids that they grew up with. And, you know, Danny Metzger, you know, made it to the Red Bulls at one point, and, you know, you could still ask him, one of his most memorable moments is, you know, helping us win a state championship in 2010 when he scored 2 goals. And that group of kids, they still talk about it. I still get texts, messages all the time from them about how special that was. And, you know, it's a great feeling. And, you know, when you do have that success in high school, and you can say, you know, when you go play for the DA, yeah, you're playing a high level game. I'm not, you are. And the training sessions are phenomenal. The coaches are great, but they should be able to do both. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to. And I feel that way. And, you know, but the experience that they have at playing for the school is very special. And it's, you don't get that feeling playing for the academies. You're not playing in for years. And that's what college is about. You know, when you go to college and you get to that next level, you're playing in front of your classmates, your peers, you know, big crowd. And I've had plenty of players that have come through the program that went to go play D1. That 2017-18 year, there was 7 or 8 kids that went to Division I schools. So it can still happen, and they're not playing the academy.
You know, I agree. And I was talking to a girls basketball player, graduated 2 years ago, and D1 basketball player, and she said, you know, it's even the small things she misses, you know, just being on the bus, going to a away game, you know, just the family atmosphere you have in the high school, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, because, you know, when you're playing DA, you got kids coming from, you know, all over.
Yeah.
Right?
And then, you know, and the other thing you run into is, you know, some of the kids, they choose, and I've had a couple, they choose not to play high school. And either their experiences at college are not great, or, you know, they end up not playing. So, you know, I had one kid that came back his senior year, Matt Leon, very special player, played Cedar Stars, what ended up being one of my favorite players, good personality. He ended up not even playing in college. So it was great that he came back his senior year. At least he got to enjoy 2017 and being part of that team. But that was, you know, what he's going to remember the most about playing soccer.
Moving over to the girls' side, you know, your first season there, you have you're returning almost everybody, which is good. Who are some players that, you know, you think this season are going to take that leadership role, you know, from the, you know, the couple of weeks you've been going hard in practice?
Yeah, well, definitely right away I noticed, I think, who was going to be a few of my captains. And I do have 3 captains right now. And Sophia Mancino is one of them. She is a returning senior. She played outside back. She plays outside back for Match Fit. Special player. She's got that competitive drive in her, and she's a gamer. When she steps out on that field, she makes things happen. So I'm taking her out of her comfort zone a little bit and taking her out of the outside back, and I'm putting her in the middle. And she's a very vocal leader. She always wants the ball at her feet, and she's going to create. She's going to find feet. She's going to send some nice through balls. We're working on that right now in practice, at just having her get used to that position. But she's going to be someone that's going to really help us have a nice balanced attack. And so I'm looking for her to do that. Another one is Caroline Rebel. Caroline is a center back for me, definitely the anchor of our defense. A very smart player, she communicates, you know, on the field, and she plays alongside Lindsay Cannon. And those two will definitely be big, especially with the outside backs that we have. So I'm looking for Sophia and Caroline to really step up in those leadership roles. And then Lindsay Garnacia, she played in the middle last year. She's going to be getting pushed out wide. She's adjusted well to the change. She can whip in the balls when you need her to, serve some good crosses, and she can create. She's definitely, you know, she's fit, so she's going to be up and down that field, and she's a good player, very good player.
How about some, you know, players that might be flying under the radar? Because, you know, I know Sophia she's an NJ.com player to watch, APP player to watch, but how about some of these, you know, younger players that might be under the radar?
So that's the thing with this team. Surprisingly, there's a lot of them, and I could probably speak about every single girl on the roster. I'm not going to do that, but we got someone back from DA. You know, we were talking about that earlier, and Juliana Kolbasovsky, very smooth player. I kind of compare her to the Joe Arena that I had. You know, sits in that middle in front of the 4, and she'll definitely hold that middle well, and she's very good at winning 50-50 balls, getting us forward, very smooth with the ball at her feet. You know, she's going to be playing there in a couple other positions as well, but she's definitely someone that was fortunate for us to get back from Cedar Stars. So, and she's buying in, she's playing very well right now. And the other one too is we got a transfer from Bayonne. Her name is AD, or Adrian Morales. She was a varsity player last year with Bayonne. She's going to be part of our back line with Izzy and Carolina and Lindsay Cannon. And those 4 have been working really hard since week 1 at really, you know, working on keeping their shape and communicating. And AD is a special player. And I think, you know, with her toughness and Izzy on the other side, they're very good at getting forward to at times and creating things that way. So, and Izzy's another one. Izzy's someone that played in the middle last year. She's getting pushed out back, and she's been doing pretty well back there. So, like I said, our back line's been working really hard to get better, And, those are some players that are definitely going to be some key girls to watch. And then, you got their forwards. We got Katie Vasilakis, who was a sister of one of my 2018 and 17 players, Peter. She's very smooth. And, man, when I get her to relax and just play like she does at practice, because she, I saw her play at Capelli, and she knew I was there watching. And you could tell she knew I was there because she was nervous. It wasn't like she was at practice. But once she gets comfortable on that field, and she can strike a ball. So that's going to be nice to watch. And then you got Taylor Beelan, who's a sophomore, who was our leading goal scorer last year. And right now, those two are really working hard just to understand my system of, where they need to be on the field, and especially in the attacking third and the middle third. And, everything's coming along pretty well right now. So I'm definitely looking for a lot of girls to make some noise this year.
How about goalie? I mean, I think when I was looking at the stats, it looked like they were using 3 goalies.
Yeah, so there's 2 girls that are going to be competing. We got Haley Sharp, who's a junior, and we got Katrina Wire. Both players are working hard, and they're pushing each other. And when one of them has a great practice, and I think, all right, they're going to make my decision a little easier. The next day, the other one has a great practice. So they're going back and forth. So I do believe that you want to have one keeper in there. I don't like, going half and half. I was a keeper. I didn't like that personally. In 2017, I had Matt Linetti and Jack Murray, who ended up playing for me in 2018, Murray in net, because Linetti graduated. They were competing, and they were both very good quality keepers. And I gave them the first scrimmage and few games just to make a decision. And I think that's going to be the situation with these 2 girls. They're continuing to work hard. We're still going to do some more things, obviously, before the season starts. But whatever girl ends up in net, it's going to be a good thing for us.
One of the last things with the roster, you almost the whole team returned from last season. Any incoming freshmen that you think are going to make an impact this season?
Not this season. And I'll tell you why. I mean, when you return as big of a roster as they had last year, 26 girls, I believe, and you're bringing back that, and we have a lot of depth this year. So I didn't really think it was necessary to bring in a freshman that, yes, could train with us, and maybe at the end of the year, maybe I do pull someone up to do that, but they're not going to get the playing time that they really need. So I have a very good incoming freshman class. So I think, So I think, to keep those freshmen playing together at the junior varsity level would be the best thing right now for them.
Yeah, I would agree. A lot of schools graduate a lot of people, but as soon as I looked at your roster, I was like, wow, there's no seniors on this from last year.
I think we have 10 seniors now because there's one senior that is not going to play anymore. So 10 seniors is good, and then we obviously heavy on the junior side as well because we only have one sophomore. That's it, Taylor. She's the only sophomore freshman. So everyone else is juniors and seniors.
Yeah, I did notice last year was sophomore heavy. Good. Good for the future. Gives you time to get to play your style.
It's a special group, and I'm big. My coaching philosophy is you're going to do things, you got to do it together, and you got to be a team. And that's what I'm trying to, that same culture I brought to the boys' side, I'm trying to do that with the girls, and it's coming along pretty well, and they're buying in, so that's good. And just even yesterday, it was, and this is what I mean, it's getting there. We would do some things in practice, compete offense against the defense, and on the boys' side, if I said the defense, you lost, you got to do 2 more 120s or whatever we're doing for fitness. The offense would say, no, we're running with them. Like, it would just be an automatic. And there was individual players that would make sure that happened. So yesterday with the girls, we did something similar, and defense wins. Offense has to run 2 extra after we did 10. And I thought I saw it happening. I thought I saw actually the transfer AD comes up and pulled up all the defense. And I was like, all right, this is great. They're all going to run it. I'll just have them do 1 more. I'm not going to make them do 2. And the offense sprints out, and then I see the defense is jogging and clapping them on, which is good. So I call Rebella over, who's my defender. I go, Caroline, what do we say after we leave the huddle? She's like, together. I go, yeah. So what do you think I want you to do right now? She's like, run with them? I go, yeah, I want you to run with them. So they ran the last one with them. But that's what I mean. Like, they're not used to that. So, like, they're understanding what I'm all about. And they're realizing that it doesn't matter because there's so much talent on this team. It doesn't matter what talent we have. They got to work together. They got to be a team. They got to be united. So if that can continue to get better, I think this year could be pretty special for them.
Yeah, APP has you ranked top 10 to start the season. Which it's a solid team coming back. Like I said, a lot of teams that were up there last year graduated a lot of people. So they're rebuilding. I want to talk a little about the schedule. You're in a tough any division that you're in with anybody in the RBC division's in a tough division.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to talk about the schedule. Some of the team. RBC Shore Regional is always good, even though they might be on a rebounding. Rumsden's good.
Yeah. So yeah, you definitely got some teams that we got to compete at a high level with, and obviously when you returning Shore Conference champions are in there, and they got a girl that can put 26 goals in the back of the net in the season, that definitely gets your attention. So, but not only that, I know they're returning a lot of younger kids. Well, goalkeeper's very strong, So, but listen, I think when we play and people are going to find out that quickly that we can compete with anybody out there. And, Rumson with the boys, it was always a rival. So I'm sure with the girls, that's going to be no different. And, same thing with Raritan, Shore Regional. My biggest focus is just taking one game at a time and, and play two teams back to back. Obviously, you got to get prepared for that. And then just get them ready to play each game. What
are your thoughts, not COVID related, but what are your thoughts playing teams back to back?
So interesting. It's definitely, I talked to some boys coaches actually, and especially with the boys, anything that gets a little heated or anything on, after a 2-1 loss or from the losing team, that they, usually what happens in the season, you got a month later and everything kind of just, everyone lets it go. But now you're talking about playing 2 days later, that other team's not going to forget what happened on the field. So, I think referees especially are going to have to watch for stuff like that. And I don't know how they're assigning the refs, but I thought it would probably be in the best interest to have the same refs.
That would make sense.
You would think so. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything about what they're going to do with the referees, but that would make sense. But yeah, I think, it's going to be tough, and it's going to be tough to keep the girls' mind sharp, even whether, it's a lopsided win, lopsided loss, or a tough competitive game, win or lose, just get them prepared for that next game.
How did Holmdel, how did you find dealing with the phases that the state rolled out for July and August?
It was difficult at first. First couple of weeks was tough. And then once we started once we started getting bigger pods and we were able to do a little bit more, the girls were good with it. And I kind of changed things up. We weren't doing the same thing over and over. And we were able to kind of get once we were able to really get at it and work on our formation and play, it was like, oh, this is what we can do now, So we're just really looking forward to Thursday because we get to scrimmage finally. And
who do you guys have Thursday?
Yeah, so it's been a long, I think, 9-10 weeks, I think, since, we've done anything, since we got to play. Capelli, the girls played. Middle, end of August. That was the last time that they were together as a team.
Who do you guys play on Thursday?
We play Colts Neck.
Okay, Colts Neck. I got to look at their roster. I didn't look. I know they gave Brick all they could handle on States last year.
No, I'm sure they're, Colts Neck is usually a very competitive team, so I'm looking forward to it.
Last question before we wrap up. What are some goals you have set, for the season? I know who knows what postseason's going to look like. So, whatever those goals are, you could just don't worry about that. But, goals you have for your team this season.
So I think the biggest thing is for them to realize what they need to do to, achieve success. And I think if those things can come together, we've talked about some individual goals with certain players. I've talked about them to them about those things. But the team goal is really just to take one game at a time and compete and, learning how to win. Because when I watched at Capelli, the biggest thing I saw was we were playing RBC one game and we had the better of the play in the first half, and 30 seconds left, we made a mistake in the back, and we let in a bad goal. Heads down, energy level, intensity level wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were used to. It's overcoming adversity. So one of our big goals, and I use the word a lot, is overcoming adversity. Things are not always going to come, happen your way. And as a team, there's got to be leaders on the field, and you're going to have to overcome adversity, especially to, win a championship or win a division, anything like that. You're going to have to learn to deal with that. So that's one of the goals that we got to figure out to definitely complete, because if we don't do that, then we're going to have a hard time winning games. So, but we want to go out, we want to win every game. We talk about, we think we're good enough, and there's no reason why we can't do that. And as far as the postseason, it looks like right now we're going to have a section.
Yeah.
From what they're saying, so it would be nice to go out and have the seniors win a sectional championship. I mean, if that's as high as we can go, and we can do that, we're good enough to do it. So, we're looking forward to having the opportunity, hopefully, to do that.
Yeah, Holmdel's a Group 2, right? Group 2.
Group 2. So we're in with Shore Regional, Rumson, Wall, being there. And they're always obviously great in the postseason.
Yeah, Walls.
So, so it's going to be a tough bracket, but, hopefully we're going to get that opportunity to play.
I think last season in basketball, Holmdel played Manasquan 4 times because same division, short conference, and then states.
Yeah, and I followed those games because I had a couple former players that, and I remember the one game they were up the entire game, and in the last couple of minutes, Manasquan comes back, puts on a run, and yeah. But I don't care how good you are, to beat a team 4 times in a season, that's a good accomplishment. It's not easy to do.
No, it's unreal. I don't know how.
And not only that, Holmdel was a very strong team, obviously, ranked number 2 in the short conference. But to beat a team like that 4 times that's a good accomplishment for a team.
Well, Coach, thank you for joining me.
Right,
Get ready for practice.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing your team on the field. Once I start mapping out what games I'm going to hit this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good luck, and good luck to your team.
All right. Thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate it.
No problem, Coach. Thanks.